Let's see. BCC backstage interview. Moxley says some stuff. Honestly, I didn't really understand what he said.
Oh my God, we were on the same page then because I was like, what is this guy blubbering about?
Yeah, later on I got it.
Raving about?
Later on I finally figured out what he was saying.
Well, I got the gist that they're challenging the Elite to a 5-on-5 match at Forbidden Door. That much I got. But then I got confused because I was like, wait, aren't Omega and Danielson have their own matches? I'm like, how are they going to... I didn't get like who the 5 are, but I'm like, okay, I'll just watch and hopefully something will make sense. I think later they did kind of make some sense. But yeah, this was I didn't care about their promo at all. Like when I see Moxley and all those guys, I kind of just space out a bit. It's not interesting to me.
Yeah, well, Danielson got a chance to speak after Moxley. They got two superstar guys here. They got to give them equal time. But being sarcastic, by the way.
Yes.
He wants to know if Okada's going to come out and challenge, accept his challenge to show up.
That's right.
And that's teased for later on in the show. So we're going to put that on hold.
That was actually relevant to the end of the show, so that's true. That should have been mentioned. Good point.
All right, let me move along. Backstage, Elite accept Blackpool Combat Club's challenge for a 5-on-5 at the Forbidden Door, so they understood what Moxley was saying. Kingston.
Somebody had to.
Well, Omega can't be in that match because he's in a match with Will Ospreay. So Kingston says he'll do it and that he'll find the 5th guy. And he's like, I'll announce it later on or whatever. So these guys don't really like each other, but as he'll mention later on that he's in this feud because he doesn't like Claudio, I guess. So let's move along from that. Unless you got something to say.
Well, just real quick. Well, actually, you know what? I'll save it when Kingston comes out. I'll save it when Kingston comes out because I have something to say about Kingston. But that's fine. Yeah.
All right. Let's move along then. There's only 7 minutes left on this show here, and they promised us Eddie Kingston and a Danielson Okada showdown. So I was like, how are they going to squeeze all that in? But okay. Kingston is talking about he doesn't like the Bucks, but he's teaming with them because he doesn't like Claudio even more. And Mox is his friend, and but Moxley is his friend, so they're going to talk about this now. This is when Moxley comes out. So Moxley comes in from the audience, and they face off in the ring, him and Kingston, old friends. And Kingston, Mox says Kingston is drawing a line here, and he says he has to fight anybody who's on the other side. And Kingston says, you drew the line when you started hanging out with that scumbag. You drew the line. You drew the line when you started hanging out with that scumbag. What did Claudio do to him? Why does he not like him so much?
Okay, a couple of things here. First of all, Eddie Kingston is so ridiculously out of shape that it's laughable at this point. I mean, he was in worse shape than he's ever been in his career. So he wobbles out. At least I think he made a joke that he's been eating ice cream or something. I thought he was wrestling a Ring of Honor. I didn't understand. I didn't know where he's been, but I thought he said he's been hurt and he's been eating ice cream or something. And like, well, yeah, I could believe that because you look like shit. You look like literal shit. There's a reason this guy has never made it anywhere. But now I can see why now.
But God, his promo was so good. And him, talking to Moxley listens to him and he's like, every time with this. And Kingston goes, every time what? Say it. Dude, he's such a good talker. But you're right. He looks awful.
I will say yes, but I don't understand, like, well, yeah, and then Moxley didn't say much after that. Like, he really didn't say anything. But I don't really understand the point of, like, why he hates Claudio. I mean, I guess last week Robert said something about, like, some feud that they had in some independent company that I don't even know anything about. Because in AEW, they were actually teaming together prior to Kingston going away or wherever he went, prior to Kingston's problems backstage or going to Ring of Honor or wherever you could find Eddie Kingston nowadays. I remember them teaming together, like him and Moxley and Claudio and Wheeler, right? I think we're actually... So it makes no sense now that he hates him so much that he's going to be with the Bucks. It's like, doesn't even make any iota of sense, okay? But... yeah, I mean, Eddie is a good talker. I will admit that, and I think that's the way he should be used. I don't think he should be used as a wrestler. I've always said that he should be used like as a manager, talker type. That's where he's best suited for at this point. I didn't really understand, like, I don't even understand the beef. I don't understand the whole situation. So, yeah, Oh, and then the best part is he announces the fifth guy, and it's another fat guy, but this time it's a fat Japanese guy. Here he comes. here he wobbles out.
Ishii. Tomohiro Ishii.
Yeah.
Anyways, let me go through the end of the show here, and then we'll comment about this whole thing. So Blackpool Combat Club come out to attack them too. Danielson gets on the mic and he says, Okada, you better come out here or he's gonna bash Ishii's face in. Which I'm like, are they even friends? Would Okada even care? I guess. But the Rainmaker's music hits, and this is what Robert's been waiting for. And Okada comes out in a t-shirt. I can already see Cornette saying like, "Oh God, t-shirt doesn't look like a star, right? Why are you wearing a t-shirt? You gotta have some kind of outfit or something." I don't know. So his music hits. They face off. This is a dream come true. Everyone in the crowd is, finishing in their pants, and Wheeler Yuta comes out to double team, and let's see if I can get this on. There it goes. This looked terrible. I don't know if he was like trying to be careful with Okada because he's such a big star or something, but he looked like he was like kind of touching him with a feather. Anyways, Okada ends up escaping, and he attempts the Rainmaker on Danielson, but Danielson gets away, and then he ends up doing it to Wheeler Yuta to end the show. So that's that. I know you're not an Okada guy, you're not a New Japan guy. This is kind of a dead spot in the year for you, sort of thing. But for what it was, what do you think? It's a thrown together feud. They just want to fight. They have no title on the line or anything. They're gonna be good wrestlers, good workers, and I don't know. Got any thoughts on the ending here?
Not particularly. I mean, like I said, the first half of the thing was whatever with Kingston, and then when they were beating him up, I mean, obviously it also didn't make sense story-wise why the Elite weren't there to back up and fight the Blackpool Combat Club. It didn't really make sense outside of the fact that, we know why, because they didn't want to be around Punk, I guess. I don't know, which is insane. I mean, talking about just being complete losers and pathetic. It's these guys, But anyways, I mean, it's going to be interesting with Okada and Danielson. It's going to be a good match. I think everybody's expecting it to be, and I expect it to be as well. I mean, I think Okada, from what I've seen, I've really not seen it much of New Japan or Japanese wrestling, but from what I've seen, Okada is probably the best of the bunch, and he should have a really good match with Danielson, who is, despite the fact that he is prone to being in bad booking, is still one of the great workers of the modern era. So I expect this to be very good.
All right, Vlad. Well, we got through that. Show started off rough, but, I think our Dynamite review was pretty good. I think I could get some clips out of there, put on the internet.
Yeah, unfortunately, there were some technical issues.
I'll try to clean it up as best as I could. Still, anyways, we're like Raw. We get the show. We do the show. Rain or sleet or snow. If I was homeless and I was, sleeping on the sidewalk, I would still put an audio recorder on and tell the people what I thought of